Hey guys, welcome back again to Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy, where the proof is in the singing. I'm continuing my Dimashathon, and before we get started, if you wouldn't mind, please like and subscribe to my channel. That would be super awesome. I have a singing course, and the course is called How to Sing Better Than Anyone Else, and you can find it right here at KenTamplinVocalAcademy.com. You can also check out my singing forums. There's over 20,000 members in my singing forums right now, all discussing all these different styles and these amazing singers, including Dimash. Now, I've gotten so many requests for so many songs and so many different things, and I can only get so many things cleared publishing-wise, so I'm doing as much as I can with all your requests, but one of the requests was Drunken Concubine with the fifth element. So those are two separate songs. With this video, I don't know who this other person is in the video that's singing with Dimash. So you guys out there, if you could help me out, please put that in a comment section. And I'm just gonna go through it, talk about it, and we could talk about some tutorials on how Dimash got and this other gentleman got to his singing styles and different licks and tricks for voice and so forth. So let's just get started and we'll just dive right in. Here we go. Okay, now it's kind of interesting. I want to, if it's okay with you guys, especially all of you that love Dimash, I want to point out some things that I'm sure he's doing deliberately because he does have really good diaphragmatic support. I want to back this up and I want to play this, but for you singers out there, so this is going to be directed more at people that are interested in the voice or wanting to learn more about the voice or wanting tutorials on how Dimash sings. I want to point some things out. So he's not really supporting this sound much at all, and he's sitting down on top of it. So it's a very, very, dare I use the word, kind of subtle, almost timid kind of sound that he's singing with. So let me back this up again and let's take a listen to this. Listen really closely how little support he's using in the sound, and I'll reduplicate it in a second. Hear that? Now, don't confuse singing light with not supporting a sound. So he's obviously doing this deliberately. I suspect, and it's just my own take on this, is that throughout the whole Asian world, a lot of the Asian communities speak very timid. They're very shy in the way they speak. So I don't know this song, Drunken Concubine. Other people seem to know the song, so it must be popular. But the original song must treat it that way. It must kind of be sort of similar. So if someone else wants to post where this song has appeared before Dimash did it, it would help me to understand this. But he goes, right? He's not going, whatever the melody is. He's not really using a lot of strength in his abdomen. It's very timid. Hear the difference? Like one of them has authority and the other one is just very subtle, very timid in the way he's presenting it. So I want to point that out because I really suspect it's deliberate. And I haven't really gone over this with a fine-tooth comb. I wanted it to be more first impression as we're going through it, so I can make things that kind of pop out, more like a reaction, but with an in-depth analysis. So this is a vocal analysis, with secrets, singing secrets revealed kind of thing. So let's continue. Here we go. See right there. The minute he kind of, boom, you can hear the support immediately come in. Let's do this one more time, guys. For you singers out there, listen really closely, right? Check this out. Here we go. Very gentle. Now, before he goes into the chest part that we just heard, I want to add a couple more comments along the way. His intonation is bad A, flawless. I mean, he doesn't miss a note. He's not sharp. He's not flat. He is total command, even when he's not supporting the sound, right? That's hard to do. The other thing is, whether you listen to Shawn Mendes or, Justin Bieber or whomever it is, most of these, even Sam Smith to a large extent, like most of these light R&B guys, that's kind of how they sing all the time. Right, Khalif, these other different people, they have this very very soft approach. There's almost no real direct strength in the sound, and this is more of a new thing, right? Now, I'm not saying that there weren't older R&B guys that sang real genteel. Al Green way back in the day. You listen to some of his earlier stuff, but then you hear him kind of lean into his sound, and you know that he's got some engine revving in his tummy to get him the sound. Whereas most R&B guys don't have that. This is how where they reside in this kind of vocal sound all the time. So I wanted to point that out along the way too. For all you guys out there that just only want to sing R&B, if you only do this sound, you'll never be able to get to a big sound like Dimash, and you'll forever kind of sentence yourself or reside in that kind of sound. Okay, let's continue. Now, I want you to do yourself a favor. I know I'm stopping a lot, but you guys, this will be worth your ride. This is a lot of experience talking to you about how these guys get to where they've gotten. So whoever this other gentleman is that's singing, he sounds a lot like a young Aaron Neville. And if you don't know who Aaron Neville is, look him up. He's an older R&B guy. Love Aaron Neville, love his voice. He used a very big tremolo, warbly vibrato. You can hear this, but you listen to Aaron. Now, Aaron Neville's voice is really big and warm and round, very different than this gentleman here. But I wanted to point that out too, that he has a very similar style. Now, Aaron did use a tiger in his tank when he wanted. I don't know about this guy yet because I haven't really heard him and dissected this, but we're going to continue to dissect it as we go. Again, this is a vocal analysis and tutorial. So, and by the way, if you like that kind of vibrato, it's not a natural vibrato that he's doing. It's a forced vibrato. It's a tremolo or a wobble or literally a belly vibrato. So you can go, ha, 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 and you can take your stomach, ha, ha, ha. So if you want to get that kind of vibrato, right? And you can literally move your stomach and pull air in and out of the sound to get that kind of vibrato. Okay, let's continue. Now, what Aaron Neville would also do is the velocity of his singing would change dramatically. So if you go back and listen to this guy's velocity, meaning consistent loudness or volume, he goes, right? So he's not going, right? He's not consistent with the volume. He's right? And Aaron Neville was notorious for doing that too. So, but he's not using a lot of voice at all at this point. So we'll see how this continues. I like the chair Dimash is sitting in, by the way. There's his growl. Now, he is taking a very Asian approach, kind of Chinese approach to like Chinese pop singing as a male, and he sounds sort of like a low tenor. He's right? Very nasally on the sound, and a lot of Asian pop does that. They're very, very nasally on the sound. So he's being very traditional and being true to that style of music. So let's back this up and take another listen to this and check this out. Here we go. Now, as soon as Dimash steps up to the plate, Dimash is in true bel canto arpeggio form. He's going for right? He's covering the sound, he's making a darker sound, and you can immediately hear his support kick in. Now, I want to talk about support because this is also really interesting. Dimash is able to negotiate a lot of different vocal fachs. For those of you that doesn't know what that means, it's the German word for type. And there's sort of a system by which they cast different voices in theater or in plays or operas. You're the dramatic, you're the big guy that comes and saves the day, or the lady that comes and saves the day or has the big thing, or you're spinto, or you're lyric, or you're whatever, sobre, and all these different vocal fachs that fit in different characters. So there could be the villain, or there could be the weeping woman, or the young woman singing about her lover. So Dimash is able to reside in a lot of different vocal fachs, and when you do that, you actually have to manipulate the vocal folds, the chords themselves. Now he's taking on a little bit more of like an alto contralto approach, because he's in his tenor mid voice, is in an alto range immediately, but he's also predominantly using almost all head voice. So let's come back and listen to this again. He's not in a belted chest sound. He's not using a tenor voice. Now, the other thing I want to talk about a tenor voice is, hopefully when we get to some more of Dimash and you guys go through the series with me, this Dimashathon, I'm going to prove to you guys that he leans much more towards a high baritone like myself in the way he approaches some of his low notes, to prove that a lot of people that I've argued with that he's a tenor and he's a this and he's that and he's a contralto. Some people even accused him of being what's called a castrati. Let me talk to you too quickly about this. Let me tell you why he's not a castrati, guys. First of all, a castrati was, you won't be needing this anymore. You're going to sing high for the rest of your life. It was something they did to a lot of male youth early on, kind of making them eunuchs, so to speak, so that their hormones didn't change and their voices stayed high. Well, I'm going to prove that he's not, because when he goes for his low notes, the hormones wouldn't have grown in the castrati. And in his case, he sings lower notes like an upper bari, like myself. So we'll get to that in a minute. I know it's a lot of information, but you guys asked, so I'm giving you the goods on Dimash. We're going to take and do an analysis of all this different stuff, break it down, and even discuss how he gets to these places. So back to bel canto. He's covering the sound. Let's listen to this top again. I know I'm backing up a bit. We're going to come off this other gentleman here. Hear the cover? Okay, that's not low. He goes an octave below that. Now, when these kinds of notes, and I want to hopefully get to this, if it's not too long, I'm going to kind of give you guys some ideas on this. If you notice, he's using what are called intervallic scales, and these kinds of scales, and this song, my understanding was when this song was written for The Fifth Element, this movie, God, I think that was the name of the movie, I'll think of it in a minute. You guys put it in the description, correct me, that's fine. It was all done by synthesizers, and it was never supposed to actually be able to be sung by a human. That was kind of the point of doing it, right? So there was this gal, you can look her up, Disney Diva 7. She did it way before Dimash, and she does a fabulous job. She did a lot of Disney stuff. She was one of the voices for some of the Disney singing stuff. Anyway, and so she's able to go through the original version, and I know Dimash does another version of this where he kicks major butt and even speeds up a lot of this stuff. But, so the exercises for learning how to do that are right? And you do these different series of exercises to get vocal agility out of the chords, to get intonation and the placement of the way the larynx are supposed to sit in the throat. So you're probably saying right now, Ken, you did that way too fast. Slow it down so we can understand this. Okay, so I will. And by the way, the larynx will change, and also the vowel placements in the throat, I should say, shall change depending on where you are in your range. So let's just do this together really quick. La, ha, 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 ha. Just start there. La, ha, 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 ha. Okay, and so what happens is a lot of this kind of fancy operatic singing, and there's lots of names for it, and I'm not going to go into all of the technical terms for this right now, but we're just going to start it, we'll do it that way, and we'll do it a little quicker. We'll go, right? Now, a key to this is going back to my videos on diaphragmatic support. Now, I cover all of this in my singing course. I go from the most basic levels of singing all the way to the most advanced levels of singing, and I cover all of this in my course. So anyway, as you're going through this, I want you to have your stomach okay, now we're gonna do it kind of fast, and the breaths won't be as big. They're gonna be real short breaths. A little pitchy there, sorry. And then from the top down is let's do it so. So we learn the scale first, we learn the placement in the throat. And then we speed it up. Right, and again, and I could even be more exact as far as my pitch and stuff. I need to warm up to these kinds of scales. But that's how he gets to these places. So please don't think that Dimash just walked in, naturally gifted singer that he is, and he is that he just walked right in and started singing those notes. We train, they're called intervallic scales, and there's lots of different kinds. And again, I cover all this in my singing course, but was the premise, I believe, for originally writing the fifth element, was taking some of the most difficult intervallic scales, incorporating that in a song that a human can't sing, because in the movie it was a robot that did it, or it was, all by a fact, on a keyboard. And it took someone like Dimash and Disney Diva 7 and some other people have done it since to come in and actually reproduce this as a human being, okay? So if you didn't know the backdrop to that, you didn't know how difficult that song is to sing, especially maintaining that kind of intonation, then now you know, and you'll know how difficult this really is and how much training really was required to go into it. So I'm gonna back it up one more time so you can hear this intonation with a view towards the scales that we just did, and we'll go from there. One more thing. Right, he's up really high, and I'm not warmed up to that just yet. I don't even know if I can hit that. I'll see what that note is. I'm sure I can, but anyway, I'm going to do this one more time, guys. Stay with me. This is really cool. Notice when he's on his bottom notes, he covers the sound, means he darkens the sound in true bel canto form. As he ascends and he goes up, he has to brighten the sound and bring it into the front of the face in order to be able to get the intonation, the clarity, and the pitch placed correctly with the vowels themselves. Now, in this particular case, they're only vowel sounds. He's not actually singing words, and singing words becomes a lot more challenging than just singing notes like this. But I want to back it up one more time, and I want you to listen closely to how he darkens and covers the sound on the bottom, but as he ascends and goes up, he has to open up the sound to get to the notes, or he probably won't be able to do it. Okay, check this out. I mean, knowing Dimash, he probably can, but us mere mortals and humans, we probably wouldn't be able to do it. Okay, so let's back this up one more time. Here we go. Check this out and watch closely and listen closely to these vowels. Now notice, he's got that very, very, again, Asian, everything in the front of the face. So there's not much color to this other gentleman on the left side here. I'm not saying he's not a good singer. I'm just saying he's not doing what Dimash is doing. He's doing his own thing, and he's staying within the domain of, again, a very bright face, a masky sort of sound, and very, very nasally in the sound. Let's listen to him again. Compare the color of the two different singers. fighting the right? His intonation isn't as cool. Listen closely. He's kind of struggling a little bit, fighting for intonation. By the way, there's a lot of little tricks you can do too. It's kind of cheating where you kind of scoop quickly into a note and you're kind of randomizing error for intonation or pitch. Intonation and pitch are words that are interchangeable. So he's kind of struggling for pitch a little bit as he's going in and out of some of these things. Listen closely. The pitch isn't that accurate compared to Dimash. I'm going to back this up one more time just so you can hear it, right? Here we go. See on that? He's kind of all over the road there a little bit, right? And he's using a lot of strength in his abdomen, is struggling to get there. Now listen to the next interval he does. So, he's really sharp on, and he struggles on the da-da-da-da. He struggles a little bit on that note in the throat because he has not built the same correct muscle memory to go into these intervallic scales that are back and forth. That's why they're so hard. That's why this stuff takes a long time to do. Now, I suspect Dimash is going to kill it in a minute. Whistle. Now let's talk about that, okay? So Dimash just came from an upper baritone, right? Let me do this again, and you don't hear a register break. I want you guys to try that at home. You baritones or you even low tenors, I want you to go, I want you to try that scale and see if you break. See if you go, see if you hear the register break or the yodel, what I call the speed bump. But let's see if you hear the passaggio break in your voice. So he's trained his voice like me and like I cover in my singing course, how to keep the throat to stay open to connect the chest voice with the head voice and mixed voice in between. Now, so many people say, what is mixed voice? What is mixed voice? What is mixed voice? I've said it to you a million times. I cover this also in my course. It's a percentage of your chest resonant sound combined with a reinforced falsetto sound that sounds like your chest voice. You've worked this up enough and strengthened this up enough to where you can have a percentage or it's sort of crossing over and meeting with chest and head, and you mix a percentage of that sound back and forth. That's exactly what Dimash just did. I just proved it to you. This is how I'm able to sing really high, is because a lot of people think I'm dragging a bunch of chest weight up to the top. Sometimes I do that for effect and it's really dangerous, but most of the time I hand it off or I mix my voice like feathering across, a mixed percentage of chest, mix, and head. So I go through this passaggio break and I end up in my head voice. I'm able to sing really high because I'm using reinforced falsetto to match the tonal qualities of my chest voice, exactly like what Dimash is doing here. So I want you guys to try this at home. It's not dangerous, but see if you can do this without the register break. So cute. He sounds like Pikachu. Oh, so cute. So cute. Okay, I don't know this other guy from Adam. I don't even know that it's so androgynous. I can't tell. It's hard for me to tell the gender of where this person is coming from. So if you guys could help me out, you guys that know who this is, if you could help me out, because he is definitely residing in an Asian soprano register right now, as though his normal place that that this person resides. So help me out on this because I have no idea. All I know is I'm doing a Dimashathon and I'm focusing on Dimash, okay? Okay, I want to point out one more thing. One thing that's cool about the end of this for me is in most of Dimash's performances, he's so drenched in reverb and delay, and it's so washy sounding, it's hard to really hear the actual real naked raw sound of his voice. Listen to the end of this, and it's a real telltale. He's spot on, he's just that, but we now get to hear the real true color and the real true just rawness of his voice without a lot of effect on it. So let me go back one more time, and it really demystifies this giant, delayed, huge, roaring lion sound and gives you really the true tubular tonal qualities of his voice. So listen and focus closely on how he actually sounds compared to a lot of the other performances I've seen, again, where they use a lot of reverb and delay. Check it out. Killer. All right, that was a killer performance again of Dimash. You know, the guy never misses a note, which is awesome. So I'm going to continue to do these, guys. If you like what you heard, please like and subscribe and check out my next video.